on Yoruba philosophy. Thank you for coming to another lecture on Yoruba philosophy. Um, it's a wonderful day. I remember 2 weeks ago when we were here, the weather was somehow bad and rainy. So we are lucky today to have a wonderful day. Let's open the discourse by saying that Yoruba folk philosophy has eventually moved from the valley to the plain. It has moved from the bottom to the top of Olumo Rock. With the publication of the Covenants of the Earth, with the publication of the Introduction to Yoruba Philosophy, Religion and Literature, with the publication of the Literary Philosophy of Wole Soyinka, with the publication of the Oral Traditions in Ile-Ife, Yoruba folk philosophy has established itself. It has gone into the um, area where everybody in Africa and also in diaspora can actually see the work of the intellectuals and scholars teaching and learning Yoruba folk philosophy. So all these scholars and intellectuals have taken Yoruba philosophy by the horns, and they know the Yoruba philosophy is very essential. Many of you might want to know what is folk philosophy. A folk philosophy is a cultural, narrative, or literary philosophy of a people depicting their cultural, their cardinal virtues, such as morality, love, honesty, honor, justice, bravery, prudence, temperament, and fortitude. What is philosophy? Everybody wants to know. What is philosophy? Generally, people say philosophy is love of words. This is a general question as we now comprehend what a folk philosophy is. Simply put, philosophy is the act of reasoning. Any person who possesses a head can reason and come to a logical conclusion. And any law that widens people's horizon and presents food for thought is the beginning of philosophy. That being said, let's get to know Yoruba philosophy in totality. Yoruba philosophy is essentially a folk or narrative philosophy, explicating and pointing to the knowledge of the causes and the nature of things affecting the corporal and the spiritual universe. In Yoruba philosophy, head, Ori, is the definition of the body, the substrate onto which other parts of the body are answerable to. This discourse tells you that Oduduwa, the, the progenitorial king of the Yoruba philosophy, I beg your pardon, this chapter tells you that Oduduwa, the progenitorial king of the Yoruba people, is the father of Yoruba philosophy, is the pioneer of the Yoruba idealism as well as realism. Philosopher Oduduwa is equally the bringer of light to the Yoruba people. So if any one of you has any question, please do not hesitate to ask me. And I would also like to read a few aphorisms which I put together late last year. I call them wise sayings, courtesy of a keeper of tradition. Any law that I said already that widens people's horizon and presents food for thought is the beginning of philosophy. If you say Africa belongs to the East, it is a joke. If you say it belongs to the West, you are not falling between two stools. Every idea is a thought, as every thought is a dot. Deeper than what man knows is a lot of what he does not know. It is not possible to learn what no one knows. A sound sleep presupposes a mind at rest, but if a leader cannot solve the power failure in his beloved country, his mind is a rest upon failure. By not knowing what is knowable, when knowing is worth knowing, means knowledge is acquirable, for whose mind is ready for it. There is a proverb and philosophy in every name that proudly points to the creative energies of the ancestors. Philosophy starts where the vestiges of slavery and colonization ends. Writers can only become wordsmiths without borders if only the countries and their borders put a finger on world literatures of multiculturalism. Africa and Africans have been on the back burner for so long. Now, the continent can be on the front burner if only one of its countries is allowed to become a permanent member of the Security Council of the United Nations. I walked through the ruins of invisibility in a broad daylight, but I was rescued by the promptness of visibility during the midnight hours. If there is anything to be learned by a non-African who has been reluctant to learn something about Africa, this is now the right century to learn. It is always possible to learn when there is something to learn. Rather than chew a kola nut of riches and wahala from the author of irrationality and be famous, I will prefer to chew a kola nut of riches from the author of rationality and be not famous. Between the major and the minor premises, I may find myself in a crossroad, but if the Lord falls on me to choose one, I will fall for the minor premise to define me epithetically. Friendship is a grain of paradise. Friendship is a grain of paradise that never withers. But on developing into love, that love becomes a universal mystery to be understood only by people with mysterious minds. Happiness is a lifetime treasure. Happiness is a lifetime treasure, a spring water that never dries. Will it be regarded a slap on God's face anytime man decides to utilize the talent given to him by Olodumare? The sun knows when to rise and set. The moon knows when to face. Any leader who does not know how to utilize the resources at his or her disposal, he or she is the most educated, doltish leader on earth. The earth is a creation of beauty and happiness. The earth is a creation of beauty and happiness. In order to appreciate this beauty and happiness, we need to appreciate the nature that speaks volumes to our beauty and happiness. The natural thirst that is never quenched is the thirst for unconditional love. I repeat that one. The natural thirst that is never quenched is the thirst for unconditional love. Vanity is likened to the wind that strikes hardest the rock without a mark worthy of glory. Man must be a creature of all seasons to understand the vagaries of human emotions. If one adheres to one's tenor, one's tenet is almost established. Man is the most worrisome creature. He is the most worrisome creature because he depends wholly on other non-human creatures for his survival. It is the mind that interprets what the eyes behold, for without the mind, the eyes will be likened to a blood mirror. Life is a whirligig, and man's philosophy of happiness is found or evidently apparent in the whirligig of time, inasmuch as man is answerable to his five senses: sight, hearing, smell, taste, and touch, as he grows every day to make a mark in the world. As long as man has Ori, head in Yoruba, man has a body of philosophy. For Ori, head, is the substrate onto which other parts of the body are answerable to. And working with time and refuse time to brutalize my life and bury my body without my soul. And working with time and refuse time to brutalize my life and bury my body without my soul. Good literature quickens imagination, the heart, and adds fullness to the meaning of life, to be found in the aesthetics of contradictions, alive in our seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, and touching. The beauty I behold in an angel is less than my desire to invest in that beauty, because that beauty may not be on the same par with our character. Among the tissues, there is a beautiful thing to behold that can be a sight for sore eyes. These are what are called the wise saying, which are dear for any one of you as you are pursuing to knowing more about Yoruba life, Yoruba food philosophy, and so on and so forth. I have something which also I will let you know about, because as the whole thing is getting bigger and bigger in terms of people getting to know Yoruba philosophy, we want them to know Yoruba people love each other. But sometimes it appears the love is not adequate. Knowing that we are all the children of Olodumare, knowing that this is the 21st century, knowing that we belong to the family tree that points to the holy city of Ile-Ife, let's come together philosophically by truncating that bad branch that keeps asking, whose child are you? Whose child are you? And that's common among the Yoruba people. If we really come from the same family tree, we don't need to be asking that kind of question. We belong to that family tree, and that tree points to the holy city of Ile-Ife. So what is the sense? What is the sense of saying, whose child are you? Whose daughter are you? Whose son are you? It makes no sense. Any person whose family tree can point to the holy city of Ile-Ife can humbly be called a princess or a prince in the name of the father of Yoruba philosophy, divinity philosopher Oduduwa. So if any one of you has any question, I will be taking them. Otherwise, we meet again in the next 3 months, and possibly it's going to be here or another place. But surely you will be informed in advance. Thank you very much for coming over, and I wish you a Merry Christmas and a wonderful, prosperous, happy New Year. Ashe.